Our next presentation is from I-Fen Lin from Bowling Green State University. The title of her presentation is Improving Survey Measures of Time and Money, Help Given and Received Due to Hardships During the COVID-19 Pandemic. Thank you.
To make it bigger. It's because I don't have a note. Oh, yeah. Okay, gotcha. You can go to display settings. Okay, slideshow. Oh, there we go. Yeah, and then this is. Thank you. I represent Emily Weimer's Good News team. Today, I will deliver another piece of good news. First, I would like to acknowledge the support from the SBE's, the SBE CCC pilot grant program and the Health and Retirement Studies staff who provided us with access to the HIS interview production data.
Arrow.
It's not. Nope, it's not working either. Okay, so maybe it shouldn't be there. But should I use the mouse? That doesn't seem to be working. Okay, there it goes. Yeah, that's right. Okay, that's back and forth.
Okay, now it's working.
Okay, so I want to talk about a little bit about background. So this pilot project was initiated by our team when we tried to examine who helped older adults during the COVID-19 pandemic using the 2020 Health and Retirement Study COVID-19 module. So this is an example of the questions. One of the questions we use regarding the time help received in the 2020 Health and Retirement Study COVID-19 module. So the HIS respondents were asked whether anyone living outside of their household helped them and their spouse or partner with shopping for groceries, errands, rides, or chores. And if the respondents say yes, HIS will follow up with another question, asking the respondent who outside the household help you and your spouse or partner with shopping for grocery, errands, ride, and chores. So this is kind of open-ended responses. So respondent can answer up to 10 people. So this is a question about time help. There's a parallel question about money help, and also have a time help given by the respondent and money given by the respondent. So there are 4 questions about time and money and received and given. So in a health and retirement study that they create the identifier called other person number for all the respondents' children and stepchildren, and also all the household member at the current or living in the respondent's current or previous, living with the respondent's household at the current or previous interviews. And also everyone who ever helped respondent or received help from the respondent. But the health and retirement study don't have the identifier, which is called OPN, for the respondent's parent, grandchildren, and sibling. And HIS also don't have information about respondents' other family members, friends, neighbors, co-workers. So when HIS try to release the public data to the question 2 on this slide, they will try to identify the person if they have other person number. But for those people who don't have other person number, which is identifier, they will call these people as other category. So this slide shows that from the public data, you are able to see how many respondents who receive help. So for the money help received, about 22% of respondents say they received time help. 6% of respondents say they received the money help, and 26% of respondents say they give time help to someone, and 23% of respondents say they give money help. But if you look at the first column, for the respondent who report they received time help, they were about 48% of the respondent mentioned someone that is not identified about in the public file. And the figures were even higher for other categories, which are 53% for money help received, 86% for money help given, and 64% for money help given. So when we try to analyze data for our U01 project, we got stuck because we find it's a very high percent of respondents, they receive or given help to someone else that we are not able to identify in the public data. So we contacted Health and Retirement Study, and we got the permission to have access to their confidential interview production data. And then we are very grateful for the pilot grant to help us to develop codes and code is open-ended response regarding others category. So what's the methods we use? So we have the 3 phases of the coding. So in the phase 1, we began inductively based on the prior literature to identify the relationship code from the intra-household transfer literature. So we have very broad category. We have parent, child, grandchild, sibling, other family member, and non-kin. And then during the phase 2, we kind of have a final category. So for example, we'll distinguish father versus mother by gender of the relationship. Also, type of relationship is a mother or mother-in-law. Also for non-kin, we try to disaggregate to like friend or neighbors or co-workers. And then in the phase 3, we try to count the number of helpers and recipients. So each phase, we have a developmental period that we call a small number of random sample using our initial coding schemes, and then the coding rules. And then based on the disagreements among coders, we try to revise our initial coding schemes and coding rules. And then each phase also have a production period, meaning that we have 2 or 3 coders for each response. And then we met every week, try to discuss all the discrepant codes. And then we discuss among coders and other project members until we reach the consensus. So it's a very time-consuming process, but we learn a lot from this coding project. We achieve pretty high intercoder reliability across different responses at different phases. And then we also did some kind of iteration process. When we did coding for phase 2, we went back to the phase 1, tried to make sure all the correction based on the discussion were correctly applied. When we get to the phase 3, we go back to the phase 1 and phase 2 and make sure our code are consistent and also consistent with our final decision. We also get help from Health and Retirement staff to identify a relationship, because sometimes the open responses mention the names, but we don't know what's the person's relationship with the respondent. So we got a lot of help from Health and Retirement staff, and also they help us to identify the duplicate helper or recipient. I want to quickly talk about the results. This slide shows the time and money help received. The blue column meaning the time help received, and then the brown columns indicate time help received. So for each type of help, you have the public data only, and you also have a public data plus our coded data. So as highlighted in red, you will see that without our coded data, the public data will underrepresent the help received from grandchildren, from siblings, from other members, from non-kin. The non-kin category usually are focused, the most larger category is friends, and then neighbors and other non-kin others. And then from the brown columns, you will see that the difference is not that big, because remember only 6% of respondents who received money help from someone during the COVID. you will see the similar pattern for the time and money given. So you will see that without our coded data, and then we will really underestimate the help given to the parents, to the sibling, to other family member, and non-kin. And again, you can see the differences is not as big for money given. So you may ask me like why this is important, right? So I think this is really important because that could affect the substantive conclusion. So I'm going to show you the example about non-kin disorder adults. The demographic shift in the second half of life has showing that there's a lot of increase in the number of older adults who don't have a spouse or children. And then there's one question will be like, well, for those kin disorder adults, did they receive help or provide help to someone else during the COVID-19 pandemic? So here we show the data from the disclosed public data about the time and money help received. As you can see that for the non-kin older adults, they got a lot of help from their children, particularly for time help. But for kin disorder adults, they got a large number of help from their siblings, from other family members, from non-kin. And you can see that there's similar but less pronounced pattern also show that appear for the money help received. Similarly, you can see that for time and money help given, you can see that, for the kin disorder adults, actually they got a lot of help from their sibling. They also give a lot of help to their sibling, other family member, and non-kin. So what is the good news? The good news is that a lot in the literature, particularly family demography literature, we always think about, well, the kin disorder adults very vulnerable. But I think we provide a piece of good news is that the siblings and other family member and non-kin usually step in when this older adult, they don't have a spouse or children during the first year of the pandemic. Next step, we are trying to finalize, the one I just showed you earlier is from our phase 1 coding. So we are still, we finished all the 3 phases of coding, but we are trying to finalize data, and we are working with HRS to release this coded data for public use. Also, based on our experience from this coding project, we submit a variation of the questions to the Health and Retirement Study. And we are very lucky this proposed question have been accepted to be included in the Health and Retirement Study 2016 experimental module. So there's 2 purposes for that, right? The first purpose is that we think these questions are very valuable because that go beyond the traditional standardized health and retirement question about time and money help. And also, this is another way to test, like maybe we don't really need a unique identifier. We can use this broad category based on our coding project and try to understand the support network of the older adults and how this support network or lack of support network will affect their health and well-being. And finally, after the data are public available, we have several paper ideas. We try to continue to pursue this line of research. Finally, we thank the support from pilot grant and also the NIA, NICHD, and the University of Michigan, particularly for health and retirement studies staff who help us to have access to the confidential data. Thank you.